listening to the Agent Survival Guide podcast, a podcast for today's insurance agents. Informing, educating, empowering, improving the way you do business in an industry that's anything but static. In today's episode, how often are you reaching out to your clients? Do they know you by name? Would they call you their insurance agent in conversation? And if any of those areas could use a little work, which, if we're being honest, we probably all have clients who fall into those categories. We know that client retention is important, and today we are going to talk strategy. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Bjorn Piltingsrud and Andrew Saksa from Essential Engine. We talked about why clients leave their agents and advisors, how we can stay in the forefront of our clients' minds without being annoying, and we also talked about what really drives referrals, including how Essential Engine helps out with retention at a few different parts of the client journey. I learned so much, and I hope you do too. Here's our conversation.
So I'm Andrew Saksa. Hopefully some of you folks recognize this voice. Very grateful, of course, to Sarah and everybody at Ritter for all the support over the years. Just an amazing organization. I'm VP of Strategic Channels here at Essential Engine. And my goal is to help make more agents and financial advisors as much money as humanly possible.
Hello, everyone. My name is Bjorn Piltingsrud. I am the Vice President of Strategy and Business Development here at Essential Engine.
My business partner and I were from financial services, right? So we worked at ING, the large Dutch financial services company. Our claim to fame was that the two of us were the people who spearheaded the very first insurance company to acquire a bank back in the late 90s. So we worked at an insurance company called Reliastar Financial, and we bought this little savings and loan bank in northern Minnesota. And then we kind of blew the doors off that, right? Because we expanded that into the entire production. And that's why ING then acquired Reliastar. ING had this large ING Direct program, the large banking thing that they wanted to do, as well as insurance. And so the bank insurance model from Europe was really kind of taking hold in the US. And we were at the bleeding edge of that back in the late 90s when we were acquired. And then we left in 2001. The ideas that we had, right? So we had been in financial services. We were like, this is such a insurance and investments. It's such a high risk transaction for consumers. Yet we just constantly saw that consumers never really knew who to work with because there was just really imperfect information about who's good, who's not good, who's going to provide service. There were obviously, as there still is today, there's production-based awards and production-based recognitions that are out there, but that didn't really get at what the consumer wanted, which was service, right? So our objective was, could we figure out a way to help consumers identify really good people to work with, and at the same time help really good people in the industry separate themselves from the not so good people, right? Because that's another thing. The last thing you want to do is get lumped in with a bunch of derelicts who are not providing good service. So that was the genesis of what we were trying to do. And we started actually with real estate. Fast forward, we did real estate for a number of years. That's where we started. So we're out there doing primary research amongst consumers and industry to identify these people. And then probably in 2006, we started working with wealth management and financial advisors doing the same thing. So we expanded into that. And then the business really hit a pivot point in 2012 when we met with the SEC staff in Washington and we reviewed the 5-star research methodology with them. And coming out of that, right, that allowed advisors and financial services personnel to feel confident in using the 5-star award in their marketing, as long as they had the proper disclosures, obviously, and followed all the compliance rules. But that really was the next leg of growth for the business, was when we expanded that program with the SEC review in the rearview mirror in that 2012 range. And then I always tell this story that we were born essentially, from 9/11 because we were commuting to Atlanta and then that wasn't going to work. And so we're forced to figure out something else to do. And then COVID comes along in 2020. And then you're like, okay, how do we pivot and figure out other things? And how do we help our customers? And our customers were really saying, I got to stay in contact with my clients. How do I do that? I used to go talk to people. I used to go see people and I'm not doing that anymore. What other things can you guys provide? And that was the aha moment for us as a business to say, hey, we can really help our clients if we expand our services beyond just this 5-star program and award. And so that's where we really had the next leg of growth, was in providing some additional marketing services that were not related to this 5-star program. So that's at a high level what I say the big key milestones in the business were. We were based in Minneapolis. That's where I'm from. That's where my business partner is from. After COVID, we are a fully remote business. We think it's great. I would never be able to work with Andrew, people like Andrew, because Andrew's in Philadelphia. We are fully remote. We probably have maybe 15 employees left in Minnesota. The rest of us are all nationwide. We have about 70, 75 full-time employees across the country.
Okay. I like how you pivoted at different essential points there. And to go through the SEC review, that must have been interesting because that's not an easy thing to go through their stipulations. I've seen some of the disclaimers and things that they require on the banking side. So congrats for making it through that.
Definitely stressful points in time, but, pressure, is a thing that makes us grow better. So. Yeah.
This is true. That's how diamonds are formed. So now, one of the things that I kept hearing as you were going through that you were trying to find that connection to be able to connect the agents to the clients, connect the clients to the agents. And then even with what you pivoted to during COVID and when we were all at home is just how can we make this relationship stronger? Why is that concept of the relationship so important to you guys at Essential Engine?
Sure. So Andrew's really good at asking the question when he starts talking to someone, are you in the relationship business? Right. And so I'm going to steal that line and say, are we in the relationship business? And the answer undeniably is yes. We are absolutely in that business. And so relationships are built on two things. It's built on trust, right? You start with trust, because if you don't have trust, you're never going to have a relationship. And that trust is built on two things. It's built on authority. So are you knowledgeable? Do you know what you're talking about? Do you have the chops to really get this job done, right? That's one piece of trust. So I can trust that you can get the job done, right? But then the second part of trust is authenticity. So are you real? Are you really doing this because it's good for me? Are you doing it because it's good for you? I'll just say that's how we think of trust today. Maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, but think about how trust and that authenticity piece has changed today with AI, when you don't even know if you're talking to a real person. You don't even know if you're getting advice from a real person. And obviously in the financial world, you've had robo-advisors, you've got quoting services that are out there, which oftentimes are not run or done by real people, right? It's a robo-advisor. So we really believe that to be successful in a relationship, you have to have trust, and then you have to have this piece of authority and authenticity. And so there was a study done back, I think in the 60s. You can find it. It's a sociological study about like how many relationships can a person have, right? So Dunbar it's called Dunbar's number, Dunbar's rule. So if you look that up, you'll see research around that. So what Dunbar found was that the average person can hold about 150 relationships. That's it. And there's been other studies that have been done since then that say maybe the number's a little bit smaller, maybe the number's a little bit bigger. Most people agree there is a limit to how many relationships you can have. And so if you think about relationships, your inner core, right, is your family. That's your closest core of relationships that you have. Guess what? As insurance agents, we're probably not going to be part of that family, right? We're not going to be there every day at the dinner table, asking questions and being there. Then you kind of move out into close friends that you hang out with, that you do things with, and you might have 10 to 15 of those people. We probably still are not going to be part of that relationship, right? We're not there at the baseball game every weekend. We're not watching football every weekend. Then you move out beyond that and you start getting into trusted advisors. So that's the area that you have to be in, right? You have to be in that area. beyond that trusted advisor, you're going to run into acquaintances, right? I know who Andrew is. I know who Sarah is, but Sarah and I are not like super close buds, right? But we're acquaintances now. And so how do you, as an advisor or as a person, make sure that you're staying within that 30 to 50 range of relationship? So core family 5, acquaintances 15, and then trusted advisors in that 30 to 50. How do you make sure that you're going to do that? It's really hard to make that happen. And so we think that through the tools that we have, 5-Star Professional, the Essential Engine products, that we can help insurance agents, financial advisors, real estate professionals, mortgage professionals maintain and build that trust to have that relationship with that client. So that's what drives us every single day, right? That's what we're here for. And that's why relationships are so important.
Andrew, do you have anything that you would like to add to that, or did Bjorn encapsulate that pretty well?
Yeah, I definitely want to add to that. I thought, Bjorn, that was perfect, actually. But I'm going to throw this on there as well. You know, there was another study. Boy, it's like a study session. Another study was done not too long ago, which they went to all these clients of these agents, and they said, why'd you leave your agent? You know, what was the number one reason why you decided to leave your agent? And it's nothing that anybody would expect, to be honest with you. It really just boils down to one thing. Were you able to have meaningful communication with your agent over the course of the last 16 months? And fortunately, the answer was no, and then they left the agent, right? So how do you bridge that gap, right? How do you consistently do all the things that Bjorn was talking about? Strengthen the relationship with A plus A equals T, right? There's the math equation that we talked about. Authority, authenticity grows that trust. And how do you do it where it's turnkey, it's cost effective, but has huge impact? And I'll tell you, one of the big reasons why I came over here to Essential Engine was because we have some different tools that I think really do strengthen those relationships. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add to that. But thank you, Sarah.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about the client relationships, that is the biggest thing we're trying to foster. And I know here on the show, we talk a lot about client retention as a means of working to keep that relationship going. It's basically everything that you do to foster client retention is taking care of that relationship. How does Essential Engine help to foster client retention? How do they come into that equation with the agents to essentially build that trust and make that relationship something that lands us within that 30 to 50 range?
Beautiful. Bjorn, can I jump in on this one?
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. So I'm going to get right into it. Let's show some of the little tools we have here to offer to help the agent stay connected with their client, not just for the retention, but that is obviously such an important component. But also, once you have that client, don't you want to turn them into a raving fan for your business? Don't you want them to always tell all their friends, all their colleagues, all their pickleball buddies, what a great job you do helping them navigate all these tricky waters? And we do that with some really cool tools. So I'll start with, I guess we could call it a flagship. Essential Living is a beautiful magazine. I put you right on the cover, again, with your photo, your logo, your brand information. Sarah, it's less than the cost of a Hallmark card. $3.99 includes the printing and postage. Each magazine customized right down to an individual client level. 2 recipe tarot cards, because you and I both know that everybody loves those little recipes. And then they have the back cover of the magazine, inside and out, where once again they can co-brand. And boy, I'll tell you, when it comes to co-branding, for me, I always think, hey, listen, I want to show a couple things. Number one, I want to, again, emphasize that authority within the community, right? So I want to tie in the doctor's office. I want to tie in that CPA. I want to tie in all those local business relationships that, once again, strengthen your authority within that community to build that trust. The second thing I want to do, though, is showcase maybe some of the cool stuff that you're doing out there, right? Like Sarah, I'll tell you, one of the things that I did early on is I started to have a relationship with an organization called New Hope for Kids. All New Hope for Kids does is help kids deal with one of the biggest traumas in their life, losing a parent. So through No Hope for Kids, I was able to learn how important these volunteer organizations are and the impact that they have in the community. So if I had a relationship with New Hope for Kids where I was doing some really cool stuff in the community, I'd showcase that right in the magazine. I'd say, hey, listen, if you're looking to volunteer with an organization that's helping kids deal with trauma, helping the surviving spouse deal with trauma, scan this little QR code in my magazine. I think stuff like that is really, really important, really, really impactful. And let's face it, we all do something out there in the world that makes the world a little bit better. My wife, Bjorn, knows pretty well, every other Friday makes lasagna for families locally that need help. So everybody could use a warm meal. Boy, Tony Robbins is the greatest example of that in the world. I think he fed 1 billion people this year. I'm not Tony Robbins, but if I could feed 2 families once every other Friday or every Friday with a warm meal, and then we can showcase, by the way, the name of that organization, lasagnalovers.org. Check them out. It's a really cool little organization. Shout out to Lasagna Lovers. But anyway, I'll just walk through them real fast. Essential Living is the magazine that's kind of the flagship. This is the magazine that gets me so excited for our industry, and this is something that nobody else has. When you're focused on the senior community with retirement articles, and you can take 4 pages in the middle of the magazine, make it a recruiting tool, showcase testimonials, do some unique things along those lines, and then also somebody's retirement journey with 4 pages about what their journey actually looks like in retirement. That's unique. That is absolutely different. And then, of course, we have the big one. Sarah, can I share the big one? Or
I would love to hear what the big one is.
All right. So we are really excited. I got to tell you, 10 years ago when I started to get involved in this industry, and actually thanks to Ritter, probably above just about anybody, when I would go to these events, we would have all these incredible agents come up to us and say, hey, listen, you keep talking about meaningful communication. Why don't you give me a tool that allows me to connect to my community the way I want to connect to my community? So another great saying that I absolutely love is there's riches in niches. So if you have a niche that you really and truly have an opportunity to showcase, why in the world not take full advantage of that? And finally, after 10 years, we're the very first organization in the world to bring a Spanish language magazine to help Spanish agents connect to the Hispanic community, separate themselves from all the competition, and again, do it for less than the cost of a Hallmark card. $3.99, fully customized, delivered to a client. That is an unbelievable value, and we're the very first ones ever to bring it. And Bjorn, I got to tell you, thank you so much, man, for believing me and for helping us roll this product out. So those are some of the key tools we think.
I'll bring it up a level. So I think Andrew gave you a really good overview of the tools, right? The tools that we've got in place, right? Tactically, what we believe, right? And this is supported by science, right? If you're going to be in that 30 to 50 relationship, you're going to be in the trusted advisor relationship, you have to have 6 to 7 meaningful conversations, right? That's what Andrew was talking about. He talked about the meaningful communication. That's not a statement, okay? That's not a privacy policy. That's not a disclosure. All important things, right? But the reality is to maintain your position, just to maintain it. So we were talking about retention, just to retain your position, you got to have those 6 to 8 meaningful communications. And what Andrew was showing you was the tools, right, that will help you do that. The referrals that Andrew talked about, if you get a referral from someone that you know and trust, that referral means a lot more. To get that referral, you have to be right there, right? You're not giving a referral to an acquaintance. That's not going to happen, right? Because this is a big thing. Insurance is a big decision for a client to make. I'm not just going to throw it out there when I'm talking to my close friend about some acquaintance I met at the bar last weekend that said they did insurance. Like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to give them someone that I really trust is going to take care of them, right?
Right.
We're talking about retention, and that's good. And if you wanted to break in to that 30 to 50, you're talking about 20 hours of time. 20 hours of meaningful time that you need to spend. Doesn't mean I got to be sitting, Sarah, at your kitchen table talking about insurance for 20 hours. but I have to at least be communicating with you, giving you things to think about that I'm involved with. 20 hours to break into that 30 to 50. That's hard to do. You can use these tools as ways of getting into that as well, probably at a little bit higher frequency. But at retention level, just to stay in that 30 to 50, you're talking 6 to 8 meaningful communication pieces. And that can be a phone call. Like, we love phone calls, Andrew, right? I love phone calls. You love phone calls. We tell everybody how you use the tool is you send it, but you don't just always send it and forget it. You can send it and forget it and use it as a communication piece. But hey, pick up the phone and make a phone call, right? Say, how's it going? What'd you think of that recipe, right? What'd you think of that blueberry cobbler? Did you make that? Did you try it? And guess what? That conversation that you're having with that client isn't the sales call, right? You're building trust. You're building authenticity at that point in time. So when it comes time to show your authority, you're there and you've already done the authenticity piece, right? So that's the critical way that all this stuff works together to improve that retention.
So you guys went over 2 of the different kinds of services that you offer. You talked a little bit about the 5-star professional. You talked about the magazines. Do you have any other types of marketing that could help with those different touch points that we need if we're getting that 6 to 8 or the 20 hours? Any other way that we can continue to use Essential Engine to get to those numbers?
Sure. I'm going to jump in on a couple things. So, Sarah, you're 100% right. You've got to be omnipresent, right? I mean, some folks are going to love a magazine showing up in their mailbox. They'll march it from that mailbox past the trash can. They'll dump the postcard, the newsletter. They'll keep that magazine sitting right there on the coffee table. Every time they reach for the remote, they're looking down saying, oh my gosh, Sarah's such a great agent. She even sends me this beautiful magazine, helps to connect to both halves of that household. All that stuff is great, and it definitely gives you shelf life. But let's face it, you got to be everywhere. You got to be in the phone. You got to be on the social media, right? You got to be in their inbox, in their email. So we offer all those tools as well with different levels of engagement. So I'll start with the easiest. So if I sent this beautiful Spanish language magazine out to my clients, let's face it, most of the agents I talk to, they're very successful agents. They don't have 30 relationships. They don't have 150 relationships. They might have 1,000, right? They might have 2,000, 3,000 relationships. And I see massive value in a magazine that costs you $4 to be on a coffee table, without a doubt. But I got to hit the masses, and I don't know if I can spend $4 per magazine on 3,000 folks. So we have a digital version of the magazine, of all these magazines, by the way. So the Retiring magazine is an incredible, beautiful magazine. I want you to have the digital version in that client's inbox. I want you to be able to text it to folks. If you meet somebody for the first time, you have a great relationship, I want you to be able to shoot them a quick text. Here's my little magazine, easy way for us to stay connected, right? If you want a physical version of the magazine, you let me know. I'll get it out to you. So not only do we have digital versions of all these magazines, we also realize that some folks are really great at social media. Some folks are okay with social media. And some people are just, even today, scared to death of social media because they don't want to alienate 50% of their tribe. They don't want to, oh my gosh, there's 1,000 reasons why it's like the third rail today to use social media, right? I mean, oh my God, what a landmine. So here's what we also offer. If you're just fantastic at, if you're Sarah and you really dominate social media, I got a library that's easy to grab, some really cool stuff that, again, helps you connect to both halves of the household, the next generation, that whole circle of their friends. And we're just going to basically give that to you, right? I mean, it's $5 a month. So I mean, it's like next to nothing. It's a huge library because, again, like Bjorn's been talking about, been doing this for 25 years. So it's a really great library. And again, nothing controversial. Guys, I'm not getting you guys in CMS trouble. It's okay. Relax. We got you. The other thing that we can do for you is we can bridge that gap to somebody that is pretty darn good at social media, but just doesn't have the time. If you're like Sarah, you're wildly busy. So here's what's great. If you want, we will make 3 posts per week for you on a social media platform. We can help you out with that. And the nice thing about that is still insanely cost effective. $49. I mean, that's wild. So great value there. If you're like some of the friends that I have no idea what to do on social media, don't want to start. Get your Facebook page for business. No way. I'm not doing it. Great. We got you. For $250 a month, we will do everything. We will help you out every step of the way. We'll give you a real coach who's going to really do all this work for you. And again, it's still an unbelievable value, especially when you compare it to some of the other stuff that's out there. So
I was going to say, even comparing that cost to the cost of hiring someone to do social media for you, that is a fraction of the cost of what you would pay. And for some people, hiring someone is out of reach, really,
right.
If you're just starting out.
Yeah, hiring somebody from scratch and having all the problems that go along with that as well. But I'm just going to say, man, if I could get an expert for $250 a month, man, I'm going to hire the expert for $250 a month. So those are 2 big categories for us. I'm also going to share another great category for us, which is postcards. So again, we work with a lot of folks, and a lot of folks come to us and say, hey, listen, I need you guys to not only create a beautiful postcard that's going to generate a lot of business for me, it's going to create some lead generation, or even maybe showcase some event that I've got coming up. But I also want you to help me out with the list, right? Because a lot of these days, going out and finding the right T65 list with people, maybe they are Spanish-speaking people, if you're thinking about the Spanish language magazine. So I want folks who primary language is Spanish, earning $200,000 a year, living in $1 million house, turning 65 in the months of June, July, August, September. We can even help you out with that. And we can absolutely get a turnkey postcard at one of the best pricing structures you've ever seen in your entire life. Again, it's a theme, right? We give you incredible value at a very, very good price. And Bjorn, I'm going to throw this out there because I know you always like to talk about this. No contract. Guys, what's the number one thing that everybody hates in this industry? Oh my God, I haven't even started working with you, and you're forcing me to work with you for the next 2 years? I have no idea how successful working with you is going to be. I don't know what your coaches are like. I don't know how you can help me out. And then I don't know what the effectiveness of what you're actually preaching to me to do with my practice is going to bring home. Look, guys, with us, you will never have a contract. Hear me loud and clear. No contract ever. All right. So with that being said.
Which we love that. Now, another one that I don't know that we touched on so much is the inbox essentials.
Ooh, sure.
Is there more to that? I know you had mentioned the digital version of the magazine. Do you have some email options in there?
So the Inbox Essentials is a program where you upload your email list and then customize your template, and then we send out content directly to your clients on a weekly or an every other week basis. If you wanted to go even less than that, you could do that as well. It's a really affordable program as well. It just requires you to upload your list to send to. I wanted to touch on the content of Inbox Essentials and touch on the content of our social media and touch on the content of the magazines, because like Andrew said, it's not controversial, right? But it's also not industry specific. So we're not insurance experts, right? So we provide the authenticity piece, and then we expect and ask the agent to insert, when appropriate, their authority, right? So, and that way we stay out of the way of any compliance. We stay out of the way of getting anyone in trouble with saying the wrong thing about a product or a service or an area. So like, not to worry, we're not going to send out an email about new insurance rates popping up in Maine or in
that would not be compliant.
Yeah, that's not what we do, right? But here's the thing I wanted to say. Sarah, you love insurance, and I know that. Here's the reality. Most customers, most consumers, they don't love insurance. So if you're just sending them insurance stuff all the time, you're going to lose their attention. You're demonstrating authority, yes.
Right.
But you're demonstrating authority on something they don't want to really talk about right now. And so what we believe from a content strategy is we're going to provide the evergreen content that nobody wants to produce, right? Because like, what am I going to talk about if I'm not talking about insurance? Or what am I going to talk about if I'm not talking about today's rates, right? It's like, we got that covered. So don't think we're sending out an email every week about something specific to insurance. That's not what we're doing. We're sending out an email that might be talking about, an over-the-road race somewhere. Like, it's engaging content that the majority of people will be interested in, but it's not industry specific or product specific.
I think when you think about it from the perspective of if you're an agent and you're going online, what are the kinds of things you are interacting with when you're online? Sure, you might have insurance agents and things in your social feed, but likely you probably have a lot of other brands and people that you follow for the reasons of being essentially delighted by the things that they are posting.
So like that Retiring Well magazine that Andrew showed a couple of minutes ago. So one of the cool things that publication does is the center 4 pages are dedicated to what we call a retirement story. So it's a profile of a real person or couple or what have you that is going through the process of retirement. They may be pre-retirees, they may be post-retirees, they may be actively in it right now going through the process. And in that scenario, we're not talking about products, services, insure this, don't insure that, look for this rate, don't look like that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about the emotional side of it, not the nuts and bolts. Because if we can get someone thinking about retirement, right, and thinking about the process, and then that 4-page section also has branding opportunities for the agent, then you connect the emotional side of what am I going to do in retirement? What does that look like? With the tactical nuts and bolts piece of what do I need to insure? What does my insurance profile look like? What does my financial situation look like? What does my real estate thing look like, right? Whatever that expertise and authority that the advisor has.
Right. And people love a good story. Who doesn't?
People love a good story, right? Yeah. And it's not, you're learning about the process through someone else's eyes and what they were thinking about. Everyone spends in their career, they spend 40 years accumulating and working, and they don't spend a lot of time thinking about that moment. And so they actually consumers crave information about what retirement looks like, that process of not getting up and going to work at 8 a.m. every morning, right? What am I going to do? We talk about that, and then we allow the insurance agent or the advisor to come in and help execute on that, right?
Right.
Sarah, can I jump in on that for one quick second?
Because,
sure. I'll tell you, one of the things I think is so exciting and creative that we actually provide for the agent is, like Bjorn said, you got 4 pages right there in the middle part of that magazine that's that retirement story, right? What a great time to really connect with folks. Right behind that, you've got 4 pages that you can now customize and create all about you, all about your agency, recruiting, testimonials from your client. That's something, again, that's brand new to the industry. Industry is always giving you a front cover of a magazine, back cover of the magazine, and maybe a couple of recipe tarot cards, right? That's kind of always been the traditional path. And it's great. Do something. I don't care what you do something. But here's the other thing I would tell you. To now be able to grab 4 pages in the middle of that magazine to make it about you, it's one of the things that excites me so much about Essential Engine. And we're always listening to you, Sarah. We're always listening to our agents and listening to what is it that you really feel you need in your business that we can create for you to make you successful. How can I do it where it's turnkey, it's cost effective, has big impact, be a good partner, and for any reason, if things don't go perfectly according to Hoyle, right? Card guy, listen, we can part ways as friends. It's okay. We're not locking you into anything long-term. I just want you to know, if you do what we tell you, if you work with us hand in hand, I'm an expert in this. Sarah knows, man, I've been doing this for 10 years. All I ever do, and all Bjorn ever does, when we wake up, first thing in the morning, when we go to bed, put our little head on that pillow at the end of the day, is think, oh my gosh, how can I make an agent's life better? How can I keep them connected with their most important relationships, clients, prospects, and spheres to grow their practice? It is our passion. And Sarah, I tell you, I can't thank you enough because I know this is your passion. The Agent Survival podcast is such a great podcast, and knowing you for years, I will tell you, I know lots of people in this industry. Sarah, I put you at the top 5
Yeah.
of all the
thank you.
people that I know across the board in this industry who honestly has such a passion to help agents grow their business. And we share that with you, and we're grateful for this. So thank you.
Yeah, we do try. I think the main thing that I love about this industry, I truly love the ability to help people, and not just our clients, but the fact that I get the privilege of helping agents with showing them resources that they can use in their business to handle the marketing piece and maybe the piece that they aren't quite as up to speed on, which in all fairness, they shouldn't be. You know, if you're an agent,
Right.
you're an agent, you should be focused on selling. But there's a lot of other pieces to the job of an insurance agent that have come in over the years that are pretty much essential. And that online presence and the communication back and forth with your clients, that is huge. And if you don't have it, but somebody else does, unfortunately, that consumer is probably going to go to the person that does, because it's just like you said, it's about the relationship. It's about all the different touch points. And, you know, there is a two-way street of what you can get out of it, but you need to be present and hitting them at X amount of times in order to come up and to be in that circle of the people that they're thinking of on a regular basis and that they trust.
People do business with the first person that comes to their mind in whatever it is. So it doesn't matter if it's insurance, you're going to go buy a car, whatever's going on, you're going to go buy a house today. You're going to do business with the person that is the one that comes to your mind first, 80% of the time. So you've got to always be top of mind and present with your clients, your prospects, and spheres.
Right. Now, you had mentioned the Spanish language magazine. That's the newest, most exciting thing that is going on at Essential Engine. I think what I'm curious about is what you guys have in the works, because it seems like you have brought a lot of ideas, Andrew. So I'm curious, what's gotten the both of you excited lately?
Yeah. Bjorn, you start and I'll go second.
Sure, yeah. What gets me excited, I'm excited to work with more insurance agents and more insurance companies out there. So our business, my focus has probably been on real estate, mortgage, financial advisory for quite a while. And learning more about this business is something that excites me, because I believe out of knowing a business better, knowing a situation, knowing the needs and wants of people better allows me to create better solutions that I can bring to market and help address that situation. I think we went from 0 to a full-blown Spanish language magazine in less than 4 weeks. How do we operate? We operate on what I would call a lean, fast production schedule, right? So we will something out there. If we come across something that we think is a good idea, we will go forth and make that happen, and then do everything we can to make it successful. Not everything is successful. Sometimes things don't work as you want them to. Right. And I'm good with that. I learn more from failure than I do from success. I just want to replicate the success as often as I can. Right. But man, I'd rather learn from failing fast than following something for multiple years and not having it work. We do have some unique T65 programs that we're working on. We've got in pilot right now. I really can't say much more about those, but think about it as education, right? So we believe from a turning 65 perspective, people want to learn and be educated. And so how can we help the education process and position someone in the T65 space as an authority through marketing? And we've got some cool products that I think are out there. I wish I could say more, but we'll have to come back, Sarah, and talk about those.
But I will say this, if you're around Minneapolis, now is a good time to reach out to us. If you're an agent in the Minneapolis area, that is definitely reach out to me.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Sarah, one other thing I'm really excited about for us is, again, we just want to make this as easy for you guys as humanly possible, for agents to be able to utilize our tools as easy as humanly possible. And let's face it, there are some companies right now, they're doing some very exciting things in our space. And we are very aggressively creating partnerships with those organizations that will allow you from their platform to order our tools, to be able to work with us. Same thing with you guys, right? You guys, man, I love Integrity Connect. I love what you guys have built over there. So we are aggressively working with all the key partners to be able to make sure that if you want to be able to use our tools and services, you can use it from any platform, and our platforms are speaking together so that, again, that you guys have ease of use, great experience, great client experience. I'll tell you from personal experience, there's nothing worse for me as a consumer that I need to get something done and I got to call some line and go through multiple people just to get to whatever I'm getting so I can actually do my job. And worse than that, I finally get to the right person, I get disconnected. Oh my God, I want to lose my mind. One of the things that we take very seriously here at Essential Engine is the client service experience. So we want you guys to feel like you've got, okay, this is my dedicated person. I can always reach out to this person. They're always there, and they're going to help us with everything that we need. So those are the two big items that I wanted to highlight. You will hear a lot more about that stuff over the course of the next couple of weeks as we get closer to AAP.
All righty. So we did mention that Essential Engine is one of the integrity partners. So that's a very exciting relationship that you guys have been able to go through and kind of get that partnership confirmed.
Thank you. Not easy, as you know.
No.
But thank you to you guys. Thank you so much to Ritter and all the agents. I'm so grateful.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've known you for a long time now, and we're excited to be able to talk about this. And I'm curious what you guys have in the works. So,
well, you have to get us on the podcast again. By the way, I would get yelled at if I didn't mention this. There is a podcast coming. We have our own podcast coming. So get ready. Bjorn, you want to share the name?
What's the name of the Essential Engine podcast?
Go ahead, Andrew.
Marketing Mind Fuel.
Yeah.
Marketing Mind Fuel. Very cool.
Thank you.
I like it.
Super excited about it. Should have our first episode out there maybe in 3-ish weeks or so, probably.
Okay.
In that neighborhood. So.
Well, that's awesome.
Can't wait to have you on as a guest, Sarah. You've been so gracious over the years. Can't wait to actually share some of that.
I'd be happy to come on and talk about all sorts of marketing. For our agents who want to learn more about Essential Engine and potentially see about what partnering with you guys looks like, what is the next step that they should take today?
So you can definitely go right to our website, right? We'll also make sure that we have plenty of ways to be able to access us, right? We definitely want to make that easy for you. You can always reach out to me directly. Of course, I run the little division over here. So if you guys need anything, I'm always here for you. My phone number and email and all that will be included. So those are the easiest ways to grab. And we also have an incredible promotion. Don't let me forget about before we jump off.
Yeah. We have a dedicated person that we're going to put on the Ritter account. So we'll make sure that so her name is Mel. We want to make sure that we have someone who's dedicated, understands the relationship and the description or somewhere, but we've got a QR code that if someone wants to link 30 minutes on her calendar, that would be one of the other ways to get in contact and get started. So
yeah, we can definitely put her code in our episode notes. So yeah, we love linking all sorts of things there.
By the way, just to give a little shout out to Mel Binford, she's been with me for 3 years. She was so excited about what we're doing over here. She couldn't wait to be part of this.
That's awesome.
A lot of you will probably recognize the name Mel Binford. She is absolutely fantastic. So I can't say enough great things about her.
That's awesome. Well, is there anything else that you guys would like to leave our listeners with today? The most important takeaway or little golden nugget of knowledge that you would like agents to remember?
Bjorn, you want to start?
I'll give you the golden nugget, and then Andrew, you're going to provide an irresistible offer, I assume.
You bet.
Okay, don't forget. So I hope the nugget that you take away, the Dunbar's study about relationships and understanding how many relationships you can keep in your head. If you think about it, just sit here and think about like how many people you can just name in your head of people that you would consider your family. I hope you can name your husband, your wife, your kids. Hope they're in the trusted world, right? Think about who is your close friends, right? And you're like, okay, now I got my close friends. And then think about that next tier of like, okay, who are my trusted advisors? Who comes to mind? Why do they come to mind? right? And then how do I mimic those things, how and why they come to mind in my own world, in my own business? Because I think, Sarah, you said it. The competitor is trying to dislodge the relationship. They want nothing more than to put their name in that 30 to 50 and take yours out and put your name in the acquaintance, right? So that's the nugget, I hope. Everyone's always focused on how many new clients can I get? How many new this can I get? How many new that can I get? It's like, that's a shiny new object. New things are great. I love them. But here's what else I know. If my Apple Cart is leaking out the back, I'm going to end up at my destination with no apples in that wagon. And I got to make sure that I'm keeping my relationships and strengthening them, because the competition's coming.
And it also takes more effort and money to win over new clients than it does to retain your existing clients. So it's actually an effective strategy to pay attention to both.
100%.
That's so good. I'm going to jump in with the Tony Robbins Irresistible Offer. Of course, Sarah, you know me forever and ever, so I got to give a little Tony Robbins love. Well, I got to do something really special to you, Sarah, first and foremost, and to all the Ritter agents. So here's what we're going to do that's really special. Normally, when folks come on board with us, we have a $299 sign up. We're going to reduce that to 26 cents. So you heard that right. If you want to come on board with us as a thank you to Ritter, Sarah, everyone, $299 becomes 26 cents. That's really your first step. That's all you got to do to get started with us today. Beyond that, doesn't matter which magazine you choose, we're going to do something special for you. So if you wanted to try the brand new Spanish language magazine, it's $3.99 per magazine. I'm going to reduce that for you for $1 for your first 2 prints. So that'll knock it down to $3 per magazine for the first 2 prints. I'm going to do the exact same thing as well with the Essential Living magazine. So either magazine you choose, just to get started on the right foot, again, for your first 2 prints, $3. With the Retiring Wall magazine, which is so beautiful, that gives you that additional 4 pages right there in the middle of the magazine, I'm going to reduce that magazine for you for $1 for your first 2 prints. So we're going to reduce that by $1 per magazine. And anybody that does a minimum order, and by the way, our minimum order is only 35 magazines. So nobody's breaking a bank to try us out, right? I mean, talking about like $150, $200. That really is, that's your whole investment to see if this tool can help you grow your practice. If you do 50 magazines with me for the next year, we're going to give you a digital version of that magazine at no cost.
Very cool.
That's another $20 per month that you guys are saving. So you save the $299, save yourself $300 right at the jump, and you're going to save another $240 for the course of the year with the digital version of the magazine. Make you omnipresent in your community, help you grow your practice right in time for AEP. So those are my Tony Robbins Irresistible Offer. We already talked about no contract, so you never have to worry about that. And Sarah, again, being so amazing. I can't thank you enough for all the support for the years. And I'm excited to be a big part of everybody's success this AEP. And see you guys out on the road at the Ritter events. Yes. Oh my gosh. We're looking forward to that as well.
Thank you both so much for being here. You have piqued my interest in the Dunbar study, Bjorn. I'm definitely going to have to look that up and read that. I'm actually going to also look up the other one that you mentioned, Andrew, and try to get those in the notes so we can link those. So that'll give our agents a little bit more context as far as what we're talking about here. But thank you both so much. And thank you for your generous offer for our agents. I really hope that we get a lot of people taking advantage of this opportunity. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been great. And just encourage, if you don't take action with us, that's fine. Take action somewhere, right? Maintain that relationship. Be present. You said it best, Sarah. Be present and maintain that relationship.
Well, thank you so much. And Andrew, thank you. And I will see you out on the road at our summit.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you. And get ready for Marketing Mind Fuel.
Yes.
Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks again to Bjorn Piltingsrud and Andrew Saksa for sharing their insight with us. I know we mentioned a few studies and resources in our conversation. We will have the links to that information and the links to learn all about Essential Engine and their services in our episode notes. If you like what you heard in this episode, let us know by following along with the show or leaving us a review on Apple or Spotify. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate your support. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an integrity company. Special thanks to our guests, Bjorn Piltingsrud and Andrew Saksa. Recording and production by me, Sarah Ruppel. Podcast designed by Urban Rivera. Like what you hear? Follow along with our show where you're listening right now.